Rosemary, heaven restores you in life. It took a lifespan with no cellmates and a long way back. Singing, why can't we look the other way? Why can't we just play the other game? Why can't we just look the other way? That was evil. And I don't mean literally, although some of you may think that's evil. That's evil from the band Interpol that I thought I'd have a crack at. I don't know why I did that. There was a conflict of interest in my mind, but I wanted to start off with something energetic and joyful and slightly melancholic, which is what I'm here to talk to you about today. Well, not exactly. I am going live because I want to talk about something. Yeah, well, hopefully I'd want to talk about something. I'm not just going to go here live so you guys can just sit and watch me sit. As you can see, I'm hands-free once again, but my unreliable pass with going live may mean that may have to move, but we shall find out. Anyway, what am I here to talk about? I'm going to cut to the chase. So, the other day, myself and Lloyd, the Jarl DM, decided it was kind of like quite a quick turnaround, actually. We decided that we wanted to do a podcast. We had previously done a show called World Workshop, where we both chatted about world building, and we kind of forgot to carry on doing that. So we got to work and we sat down, I think it was Saturday night, recorded, and yeah, from that, the Die Is cast was born. And that's what I want to talk to you guys about. I would like you guys who are watching this, if you are at all interested in what I'm about to tell you about the podcast, head over to the Die Is cast on Facebook. I put a link, by the way. I've put a link at the top of this, so you should be able to find it. Or you can just type in the Die Is cast into Facebook and you'll be able to find the group. Basically, yeah, me and Lloyd wanted to do a podcast, and we talked about it on and off for a little while. We decided just to go ahead and just do it. I had a really good time doing it. Like, I think we had a lot of fun doing it. The first episode is about unfettered villains, which is it was pretty good because, like, the way, at least I think the way that I go about from starting campaigns and things for D&D and stuff, the first thing I think of is the villain. The first thing I want to get down is the obstacle. Because that is what creates all the tension, that's what creates all the drama, that's what gives you a story, you know, especially like in things like D&D, where strong antagonists are generally not necessarily needed, but they are, I think, a really great way of telling stories. So it's fitting that we started with that first element, the villain. And the unfettered villain is a particularly interesting kind of villain to look at. We will obviously be exploring more in future episodes, but it was a good one to kick us off. It was a subject that we both feel strongly about, and we could talk at length about. It was good. It was really good fun, and I'm really proud of the episode. So like I was saying, we recorded Saturday night, and then Sunday I spent sourcing music. I've got to say, of all the things that I'm proud of, it's the opening and closing theme of the Die Is cast. I think music is a really important thing, just in general, obviously, but I think in terms of accompanying creative work, I think it's a really great thing to explore. And I've got to say, I'm really proud of it. Like, I really, really love the opening theme. If you go and listen to the episode, which is live on SoundCloud at the moment, you'll find the link in the Facebook group. if you you go and listen to it, like I shed a tear almost because I like to think that we went against the grain in terms of the music choice. Like I listened to a lot of role playing game podcasts throughout the throughout my years, and there's quite a lot of heavy music. There's quite epic and sort of soaring kind of music as well. And this is very quiet and understated, but so emotional. And that's just the music. But so I'm very pleased with obviously our opening music. I'm very pleased with how we sort of explore topics as well. And the reason I'm going live to talk about it is because I want more people to listen to it. Like we've had a good reception so far, but like I want people to embrace what we're talking about. It's like the reason why I do these live streams that I talk, you know, where I come on here. I like to have a conversation. And I think with the Dice cast, I think we're going to be exploring, especially later on down the line, we're going to be exploring some more difficult topics, I think. I'm not going to go into that fully just yet. Because I've got to be honest, I've got to run that by Lloyd as well. But I like to think that our exploration of different topics to do with role playing games is going to be very extensive and no holds barred, very candid, very honest, and brutal. Maybe not. We'll see. I see a few people have joined us, so I'm gonna have a look and see who we've got. So Lloyd, my buddy, my partner in crime, has joined us. Hey man, how's it going? Locris Planetoid is here. The podcast wasn't recording for 5 minutes until like Locris came up. Do you know what I mean? Like, just that we were like, we should probably get Locris on this at some point. But we basically thought to ourselves, well, we should probably wait a little bit before we bring on a guest. It kind of looks bad. If me and Lloyd can't hold a conversation for the length of a podcast, then we're going to be in trouble. But we'll definitely get Locris on at some point. Absolutely. And then Locris goes on to say, I'm about 3/4 of the way through the episode 1 and I'm loving the villain tour. Yo, thanks, man. Like, I really appreciate that, especially coming from the creative fountain that is Locris Planetoid. Like, it's an endless stream of creativity that comes from you. So that's amazing. I'm really glad you're enjoying it, man. Marquis joined. Hey, man, how's it going? And Sam has joined. Sam did a really wicked stream earlier about a topic that I've been sort of preparing to do a video about myself. And that is portraying known characters from different franchises and genres and historical periods and things like that. Sam is going to be in a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, which is so awesome. Like, absolutely awesome. And I think I'm going to be doing that a video on that subject at some point. Because it's something that comes up, but a lot of people don't seem to, like, some people are unsure as to how to go about it, and I think that's completely, like, I'm sometimes unsure as to how to go about it as well. And a good example I cite is the Against the Shadow game that Lloyd runs. He played both Gandalf and Saruman in one scene, and did it convincingly, did it well. The suspension of belief was upheld whilst he was doing so. And I don't think it's so much about being good at impressions. I think it's capturing the essence. So maybe that's something we could talk about on the Dice cast as well, considering that Lloyd has done that. I played Vader once, which was like one of my favourite things to do in a campaign that I ran a little while back. I ran a Star Wars game where an elite collection of stormtroopers were given orders by Vader. They were part of Vader's fist, so that was cool. So yeah, I think Sam's... Anyway, what was I saying? Sam is doing sort of like a character building thing tonight, I think. So Sam, if you'd like to plug that in this chat, by all means, whack it in, man. By all means. Marquis says, Locris is mine, no stealing. Ah, Marquis, that's the thing. Locris is as free as the stars that wheel in the sky. You can no more cage Locris than you can cage a raging storm. It's true. Leonardo says, IDM standing sometimes. Oh, you do understand, Leonardo. I was joking about that. There's. I tell people in the podcast, those people who stand whilst DMing should sit their ass down, knowing full well that I myself also have stood whilst DMing. So all in jest, my good friend, all in jest. Sam says, I look forward to that video. Yeah, man, me too. I'm looking forward to that, doing that at some point. Some point soon. I have a fair bit of notes on it already. I just need to think about how I'm going to shoot it and like how I'm going to edit and stuff, because I'm going back to a more edited version with my videos. It takes a bit more time, but I think the quality of my videos are, it's worth taking the time over it. And I've really enjoyed editing the podcast as well. Like I love doing that sort of stuff. Lloyd says, it's correcting me because, of course, there was more than just Gandalf and Saruman. It was Gandalf, Celeborn, Glorfindel, Saruman, and Thranduil in one scene. I do apologise, Lloyd, for selling your amazing multitasking and multi-performing talent short. I do apologise. I just couldn't remember their names. I did remember Glorfindel and Thranduil, but like I couldn't remember the other one, who I've already forgotten. Celeborn. Locris says +1 for standing. Oh dear me, I think that comment's got me in trouble already. And Lloyd Collins is proud to have been Locris's first game in the community. Is that so? I did not know that. That's wicked. Sam then says, if anyone is interested in the character creation, here is the link, 9 PM Eastern Time here, and he's provided the link. I would recommend going and checking that out. I mean, it's not every day that you see someone rolling up a Ninja Turtle, is it? Which is pretty awesome. Sam, if you want to plug that game as well, because I don't remember who you said was running it. Your stream was the first I'd heard of this, so. But yeah, like I say, like it would be, me and Lloyd would be very grateful if you guys are interested at all after watching the stream, going over to the Dice Cast, liking the Facebook page, so you will get notification when the next episode is out. We are currently live with our first episode on SoundCloud, and we are working on getting that onto iTunes as well. It was going to be on Podbean, but unfortunately, because of the way that I'd edited the video, it was not an MP3, and Podbean is determined to only receive MP3s and of a limited size. Then again, I'm not very experienced about this thing. I edited it, and I said, Lloyd, you handle distribution, because I haven't got a clue. But we're working on it, but we're hoping to get on iTunes soon, because, it's iTunes, and I use iTunes, so I want to make sure that it's on there, you know. It's handy. It's very handy. And then you can have the podcast function if you're an Apple user as well. You can have it obviously download straight onto your phone and stuff. Sam then says, it's Alan's, excellent. Alan Holloway, Chat for Traps on YouTube is running the game this Friday, 9 PM EST. Definitely go check that out. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, man. Amazing. I think Chad Nick, Taxes, the Dragonborn from the Lawkeepers, is also going to be in that as well. Sam is playing Michelangelo as well, which is going to be interesting. It's pretty cool. And if you think about it, the Ninja Turtles, like, that's pretty much like a perfect setup for a role-playing game. There are 4 of them, you know? It's like a typical party setup, but well, not really. They're all ninjas. They're all rogues, really, aren't they, I suppose? I suppose they'd be rogue fighters. Interesting. I suppose they'd be more fighters than... Well, they are quite sneaky, aren't they? They're ninjas. I'm going on topic about Ninja Turtles. I love the idea that there's people who are playing a Ninja Turtle game, which is great. So that's about it, really. But I mean, the reason we're trying to encourage people to go and check out the Facebook group is also because we want to hear from you. Marky says monks. You're absolutely right. They should be monks. I don't know why I didn't say monks. The Ninja Turtles probably would fall into the monk category, absolutely. So what was I saying? That's right, yeah. So yeah, the reason we want to encourage you to go over to like the Facebook group as well is because we want to involve people in the podcast. We want to take issues that you want addressing, topics as well. You know, that's the reason we do it, is because we're hoping that the podcast is going to be helpful. Even if it's just to give some kind of inspiration or to hear a different opinion about a particular subject. And of course, it would be much easier for us to do that if you let us know. So, by all means, go check that out. It's really exciting. If anything, go and check out the podcast for the theme, the musical theme. It's good. And I promise I won't make any more slights against people who stand up and DM, because because I've done it as well. Yeah, sometimes it's good to just have all the energy pour from you. It's great. Yeah, so unfettered villains. It's an interesting one, and we obviously go to we use a number of popular culture references to make it sort of easier to sort of both know what we're talking about, but also some general advice about how you can instill that particular type of villain into your role-playing game. Generally speaking, I'm not going to go into it because I think you should definitely check out the episode. But the unfettered villain is a fascinating psychological profile for a villain to have. Single-minded and completely set on a particular goal, and will sacrifice anything and everything to achieve it. And it makes some pretty great conversation. It really does. Like I say, I'm not going to go into it. You should go check out the episode. But we come up with some examples at the end, one of which I had to slightly edit, because I will warn you, our podcast is it is technically a 15, I'd say. A PG-15. No, not PG-15, that doesn't exist. A rated R, maybe. Not for any bad reason. I'm just saying that if you don't want sort of like harsh topics of conversation, making it sound awful now. This is it shouldn't have been me to plug this. It should have been Lloyd. Lloyd would have been straight up about it. I'm like, yeah, you want to be careful listening to this podcast now. Completely going back on what I'm saying is it's for everyone, and I'm like, yeah, but you better watch out. No, I'm just kidding. All I'm saying is that some of the themes are like addressed up, can be quite heavy, to the point where I had to edit one with a makeshift beep. I'm really, really happy that I'm learning more about audio editing as well, because it's not something that I'm particularly skilled in at all. But it just goes to show that, like, if I can do it, then pretty much anyone can, Got a few more comments here. So, Marquis says Ninja Turtles are monks, man. Yeah. Sam says, they're ninjas. Marquis says ninja monks. I think Marquis means mechanically they'd fit into the monk profile the best. PG-15. Oh no, Marquis says. It's not PG-15. It's 18. Ben Buckner says, I think continuing the villain topic would be good. Do something like the Juggernaut coward villain. Yeah, well, we are definitely going to be doing more of the villains. I think the next villain one that we're going to do is the Puppet Master, actually, which is one that I'm really excited about doing. I've only ever run a campaign once where there was like an unseen Puppet Master. That's a lie. 2 campaigns. But it's been a long time, and I think I've developed quite a lot as a GM since those times. So I'm excited to talk about that. The next topic that we are doing is settings, because although some of you in this community might be familiar with Lloyd and mine settings, so that's Iskloft, the Viking setting that belongs to Lloyd, and the Nine Kingdoms, which is where the Lawkeepers is set in mine. We're trying to make this so you don't have to know. That's what a big problem is. I think is that we don't want to assume that people know too much about us. So we're going to be talking about settings. We'll be using our settings as examples. But we're going to be exploring a wealth of settings. We're going to be covering low magic, high magic in there as well. Which I think will be challenging, because Lloyd and myself run generally. I run kind of like a low slash mid because of the story element to it, and Lloyd is very much the low magic setting fan as well. So that's going to be really interesting, I think, because it'll give listeners who don't know us a bit more of a bit more of an idea as to the settings that we reference, probably for the rest of the campaign. Yeah, so it's pretty cool, and I'm really happy with the final product. I think it's a good podcast. It's an interesting podcast, and it's kind of no holds barred, and it's interesting, and I think it's exciting to listen to as well. I think we have an exciting podcast. At least it's interesting. I don't know. Marky says, "Thank God, page 15 is too mature for me." It certainly is. It certainly is, Marky. You need to be careful. You need to be careful. But that's about it, really. So I'm going to have a sip of tea. If anyone has any questions or suggestions right here about what we could do on the podcast, what subjects we could cover on the podcast, by all means, whack them into the comments. I'm also going to be putting this onto my YouTube channel because I understand that I have a number of viewers on my YouTube channel that might not see this, so I'm going to make sure that this video goes up onto Performance Check as well to ensure that maybe they get in touch with the podcast as well. Gonna have a puff. Locrius says, are we going to be on iTunes? Are you dudes going to be on iTunes? We are definitely attempting to get the podcast on iTunes. I have no idea about how to get on iTunes whatsoever. Lloyd is handling distribution. Hopefully we'll be able to tack it together and we'll be able to get it onto iTunes soon. I'm sure we'll be able to do it. We're trying to figure it out as we speak. And I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm sure it'll be okay. We'll be able to sort it out. I'm on another podcast that gets put onto iTunes. So worst case scenario, I will try and make my friend do it if we fail. But I would like to ensure that either myself or Lloyd know how to do it, so we know how it's done for the future. But yeah, we're on it now, Chris. Don't worry, because I know I understand. I don't think SoundCloud I know on my phone anyway, I can't download things. I have to have an internet connection for SoundCloud on my phone, but I can download it on my laptop, which is weird. It's all like a big kind of learning curve, really, for the first episode at least. Marky says, I want to be a guest on challenging players as a subject. Absolutely, man. Me and Lloyd, I'm sure, are open to having lots of guests on. I'd love you to come on, man. I think you're a very challenging DM, personally, Marquise, and I think you would probably be an ideal person to have on for that. So absolutely, we'll definitely do it. We're probably, like I said, we're going to try and establish myself and Lloyd as the hosts first, so it may be a little while, but we'll definitely have you on, man. Lloyd says, Lokius, yes, we're trying to figure it out. Yeah. So we're on it, man. We'll fix it. Marquis says, and then a guest again on an episode about weird, stylish games, stories, and settings. Absolutely, I think that's a good idea. Maybe we'll work something up. But definitely we'll do that, man. That sounds good to me. That's a really good idea, actually. Like stylistic games and how to run a stylistic game in a particular way. Good idea, man. Ben Butler says, since you and Lloyd cover the low mid magic settings, maybe do a podcast with a guest that is familiar with high magic settings and discuss how to run them. I'm sorry, man, your comment, again, with my stupid phone, I can only read so much. Annoying. I don't know, Ben, the thing is that me and Lloyd, I think we need to get over the high magic hump. I have run high magic settings, but I would say that they are in no means my strength. I don't think. I can, and I think they're all well and good. It depends on people's taste, but it makes it pretty easy when people can just teleport whenever they like, and they can. Everything's magical. I don't know. See, this is the thing. I haven't fully arranged my thoughts on the subject, but I will, and soon, I assure you. Lloyd says Marky is never getting on the show. That's awkward, isn't it? Already there is dissension between the two hosts. I'm always going to side with Lloyd, I'm afraid, Marky, so I'm afraid that's it. Then you can't be on the podcast. Sorry, mate. Oh, that's awkward. On a live stream as well. That must be so embarrassing for you, Marquis. I mean, good lord. I don't know how I'd cope with that rejection. You know, hundreds of people are going to watch this as well. So, like, I say hundreds, like hundreds of people watch me. Enough. Oh dear. Lloyd, don't let me catch you on these Irish streets. To goodness me. So guys, I think that's going to be it on that high note, on that, as we cast Marquis back into the shadow. Marquis, I'm sorry, man, but that's just the way things go. On that note, thank you ever so much for joining me on the live stream. This has been a funny one. I've enjoyed it. I'm going to upload this onto to my YouTube channel, so you on Performance Check as well will be able to find out about this new podcast that belongs to me and Lloyd. You'll be able to find it if you follow the link in the thing that's down there. If you like this video, give it a like, and if you would like to see more like it, well, you won't see more like this really, because I'm only going to plug this probably the once. Maybe I'll plug it on other stuff. But if you like what you see and you want to see more like it anyway, then give me a subscribe or not. We're all friends here, or are we? Take it easy, and I hope that all of your performances are up to standard.